Yo, what's up, guys? This is Logic, and you're tuned into thestashed.com.
Alright, y'all, what's up? I'm here with my man Logic, about to drop his debut album
Yes.
on Def Jam Records, Under Pressure.
Yeah.
People are really anticipating it. Before you revealed the title, because you just revealed it like in the last few weeks or so, people were hashtagging Logic album. Right?
Logic debut album on Twitter, yeah.
And it's something I never really seen before. They were just like, well, we don't have a name for it, so it's just hashtag Logic
Yeah, and they
album.
got it trending. It was like #1 in the world. It's crazy. My fans are crazy for sure, man.
So your fans started that like out of the blue.
Yeah, I don't know how it happened, but it did. It's weird. Like my fan base, I don't know. I guess they just connect to me and my story, so they just like ride for the music for sure. I'm excited that I could finally give them the album title and now the album, so it's amazing.
Now, when that started trending, Logic album and all that, did that like kind of prolong your decision to reveal the album title?
Oh no, not at all. I mean, we knew when we were gonna do it, how we wanted to do it, like all that. It's just all about timing. You know what I'm saying? Marketing is a big deal. Like, it's crazy because I knew what it was called a year ago, but I wanna. It's, as much as I want it to come out, like people are like, oh man, drop the album already, drop the album. It's like, yo, I've been waiting 24 years to. Of course, I want the album out, but you have to go about it a certain way, so that everybody can hear it, not just my fans, which is the people I made it for, but for the new people who are going to discover me for the first time. We want to make sure I'm on that plateau for them to be able to even discover me.
Now, something that you're doing with this album that's pretty bold, especially for a debut album, is you have no features on the project.
Yeah.
When did you make that decision? That's what you're gonna go with.
I was in the studio with the Cannon, with Don Cannon, and I was telling him about people that I'm a fan of, people that I thought would be great, from Cole, Kendrick, Drake, like all the the new kings, and he was like, look, man, he was like, you could, and it's not even like I was going for them, but I'm just saying, I was like, oh, so-and-so would sound good on this record or that record or whatever. He was like, look, man, this is your album. This is your album. This is your story. He's like, I think this is something you need to do yourself. And then also in that same conversation, because I'm like true to the mixtape era, so I'll do like 22 songs on my mix. It's just crazy because I'm going to give them everything that I can give. And on this album, I just wanted to stick to 12 solid records and say everything that I could possibly say in those 12 records. But features aren't what they used to be, man. Like, Only Built for Cuban Links, when you heard Nas on that album, you're like, oh my God, like it was amazing to hear. It was almost like, that Family Guy Simpsons episode that recently aired. Like, it's like, that's crazy. Nobody ever really does anything like that. And that's what it was like back in the day. I mean, hip hop is truly damn near the only real genre where you can have two of your favorite superstars, idols, come together and create this, it's like Dragon Ball Z, like fusion, like just two things coming together. So for me, I was like, all right, well then let me, since back in the day, that was a rare occurrence to have features, and now it's oversaturated, let me bring something from back in the day, such as rarity, and do no features and just tell my story on this album.
Was there any record that you made with somebody else that was just so good that you were toying with the idea of including it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really wanted the record with Childish Gambino, because that's like a good homie of mine, and Big Sean, to be on the standard version of the album. But they were both so cool because they understood that I wanted to create just my story, but I wanted to include them because those are homies of mine, you know what I'm saying? And Gambino and Fam and all those dudes, like those are like my bros. They're just great people, and like I just wanted to include them on the album, you know what I mean? But I was so torn, and then I don't know how it came up, but the deluxe version, because my fans are so, it's different. It's not like, oh, deluxe, nobody's gonna hear it. Like, no, my fans off pre-order alone got us the #1, and you know what I'm saying, buying 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The one kid bought 16 copies of the album, pre-ordered it. So it's like, I think they were cool. They're like, oh, it's not like I'm just it's a throwaway record or whatever. So they did know that the public would hear it. So that's really great.
Now, you just mentioned a couple big collabs. You've done records with Casey Veggies also.
Yeah.
Is there any specific collaboration that your fans have been like hitting you up about? Like, yo, you need
Cole.
to get with this.
They really want me to collab with Cole. And Cole's like a good dude. You know what I mean? That's a homie of mine. He's just an all around good dude. Him, like the whole camp. They're great people, but man, it's all about time. And Cuddy too. And Cuddy, that's like my big bro. Like, shout out to him. That's my dog. That's my dog, Friday. But It's all about timing. You know what I'm saying? Because like I'm doing this press run, I'm about to go on a world tour, I'm about to do this, I'm about to do that. A lot of people think it's just as easy as like I'm sure Cudi wants to do a record together for sure. You know, it's just it like takes time. It just takes time. He's busy, I'm busy. It's not as easy as like, oh, let me get 16 bars. It doesn't work that way, especially when you're. Because for me, it's much more than just a feature or a look. Like that's why I didn't have any features on my album, because for me, it wasn't like seeing somebody else's name as a feature isn't gonna make people buy my album. You know, it's not gonna make it more credible. It's not gonna like me holding my own and doing my best to create an album that will stand the test of time is what's gonna make people, you know, continue to buy the album. So, but yeah, in the future, I think I'll have some good collabs with my homies.
All right, dope. What was the toughest like decision or part of the creative process for this project for you?
Finding out how I wanted to be introduced, because on my mixtapes, there's like radio type records and just fun records and this and that. Like Miles Davis said, you have to play for a long time before you learn how to play like yourself. And I think from my producer Six, who was, you know, emulating different sounds, and, you know, me learning all the flows from Tribe to Nas to the new school heads, just to study and understand, I guess, thine enemy. You know what I mean? Like knowing how he does this and that, and how can I do it better, and how can I this and how can I that. So I don't know. I've just been studying a lot, and for this album in specific, I wanted to tell my story. I wanted to give you the approach of like, this is a hip hop album, because if I came with some crazy radio record first, or came with this or came with that, people like say I came with a radio record, right? Like crazy records on the radio, and then I drop an album like this, people are gonna look at me sideways. You know, but for the fact that Under Pressure is the first single and the first thing that many people in mainstream media and just I guess that circle of people and hip hop heads will listen to, they're like, oh, okay, he's that guy. And then when the album comes out, they're like, oh, okay, he's the spitter. Like, okay, all right, I respect it, I get it, I understand it. So even though I could do a million different things, I wanted to be very cohesive and very like just to the point with who I am, who Logic is, my story, my sound, my brain.
Got you. Now, like studying up on all these artists and flows and such, did you sort of discover that you were good or better at something musically than that you didn't know beforehand?
Yeah. I think I surprised myself on this album, especially when it comes to production, because I produced like on four records of the album. And I think that was a big surprise for me, because when I first started producing, I wouldn't even call it that. I wouldn't even admit that I was a producer or that I was making beats. I would just see it as like, oh, I'm just creating drafts to give to like Six or No ID, and like just, hey, here's a cool idea, like you, man, do whatever you want. But then I think those drafts started to become very good, and to the point where, you know, I would rap on it and people were like, yo, like who made this beat? Like credible producers, who made this beat? And I'm like, oh, I did. I think it was that, me not saying that I did it or this or that let me know like, oh, okay, I think I'm good enough to actually move forward with things on the production side as well.
Now I know that the theme of the album is a little bit the duality of you as a rapper and as a person, and, you know, you being at the bottom and coming up. Is it presented in any type of like chronological way or chapters with the songs?
It's weird. It's not chronologically in order or anything like that. It's just more about sections in my life. So periods of time in my life, you know, from being a little boy in my house and dealing with all the stuff that I had to deal with that. Also talking from other parties' perspectives, like my brother who was in the streets, brothers who were in the streets, you know, hustling, selling drugs, things like this, from the perspective of my sister, from the perspective of my father. So me like rapping as if I was them, like it's definitely extremely conceptual, like top to bottom. There's Easter eggs, there's little, you know, hints on this or that, or just all types of stuff. There's an homage to Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest. There's all types of stuff that a true, not only hip-hop head, but musical fan, just someone who just enjoys music with no bias and just loves music, will enjoy this album.
Yo, you just put out the video for Under Pressure,
yeah,
the title track, And as we were talking about earlier, it has like this sort of video game Splinter Cell feel. Like,
Yeah.
what was the inspiration for that?
I just wanted to do something different. You know what I'm saying? There's videos that have been done like that. I mean, through the ages, from "Smack My Bitch Up" by Prodigy, just all types of stuff. So I kind of wanted to do something for hip hop. You know, I wanted it to be different. I'm a huge Tarantino fan. You know, I wrote it. I co-directed it with Stephen Wayne Millette, and he was awesome. He taught me so much about film, just like being on the set with him and getting everything ready. But it's so much deeper, you know. Under pressure, like, I feel like I've been a diamond in the rough. Cole, under pressure makes diamonds. So like, even looking at the album cover, like, that's me in the basement, quote unquote, underground, you know what I mean? So, and then to see where I am today, it's really crazy. So it's almost like there's levels to this shit. Like that's how it is on the video. Like, you're going through multiple levels and, you know, trials and tribulations, ups and downs to get to that final end result. Diamonds, you know. But I see it more as like, some people could see it as like super violent, I guess. But for me, it's just like, it's fun, it's fictional, and it's a metaphor. And to me, the actual backstory, I never really talked about it, but it's more so like, obviously we're criminals, but we're robbing even like grimier criminals. So it's more like a Robin Hood. I'm taking those diamonds, and those diamonds, that's my album, and I'm dispersing it to the people. You know what I mean? But yeah.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers, and films by Quentin